There are certain things that words cannot describe. In this place, life is an adventure. I never imagined I'd be here. A land full of wonders, colors, and cultures. Where beauty lies in every corner, and nature showing its best side. From the oceans to the mountains. Waiting for you to explore, to make stories. Rises to the shore. Of what people call the land of the gods. What would it be like to explore this place? To experience these shores? To witness the wonders of this land every day? Indonesia. There are certain things that words cannot describe. In this place, life is an adventure. I never imagined I'd be here. A land full of wonders, colors, and cultures. Where beauty lies in every corner, and nature showing its best side. From the oceans to the mountains. Waiting for you to explore, to make stories. The sea rises to the shore. Of what people call the land of the gods. What would it be like to explore this place? To experience these shores? To witness the wonders of this land every day. With love, from Indonesia.
We know you have been longing for a good holiday in Bali. Indonesia cares, so it's been preparing for your safe return. Ngurah Rai International Airport has been awarded the Safe Travel Stamp by the World Travel and Tourism Council for its commitment to implement the COVID-19 health protocols. To date, almost 100% of the people working in Bali's tourism industry have received their second doses of a COVID-19 vaccine. Furthermore, 1,006 tourism businesses in Bali, including hotels, restaurants, tourism attractions, and others, have been granted the Indonesia Care certification from the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy for their consistent implementation of COVID-19 health protocols. Indonesia cares about your convenience and well-being, and when the time comes, the island of the gods will be ready to welcome you with utmost warmth.
Serunya menikmati wisata
Karisma Indonesia
dengan standar protokol CHSE hanya
di Indonesia aja.
teroperasi
Oh, diam, 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 diam.
Okay, I'm sorry. other association, because currently, I'm sorry to say, there is no leadership in ASEAN as a whole, because the opening is doing piece by piece or country by country. So I think that's what we are currently doing. And of course, I will take note on your suggestion. I'm happy to organize, for example, how the other countries reopen and what are the requirements, and perhaps also how tour operator can talk together within that platform. After this, maybe I can communicate with you, Pak Paul, to see how we can really come up with this concrete platform, so as we can share all this development. But again, I think we will be limiting this to those that are ready and interested and have an interest.
Thank you, Pak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Eddie. So I think this is the end of our session now, and we would like to say again thank you to Pak Eddie and Pak Sandiaga Uno. We hope that this discussion will be can be executed later. As Pak Eddie said, the most important is to have the mutual recognition agreement document and interoperability of health application that needs all the countries support. But again, it's quite challenging because talking about the personal data exchange. Okay, again, Pak Eddie, thank you very much, and we would like to give the virtual token of appreciation and a certificate of this webinar.
Okay, thank you, Pak Haryadi, for invitation
Yeah.
and opportunity to given to Asianta to participate. Look
Thank
forward
you.
to work together with you.
Yes, thank you very much, Pak Eddie.
Thank you.
Thank you, all the participants.
Thank you, Pak Moderator.
Thank you.
Okay, for the first session is done. Well, Indonesia is really as beautiful and special as what is shown in Wonderful Indonesia. We would like to present to you a show of Wonderful Indonesia.
No one would have expected 2020 to go the way that it did. Out of nowhere, the world just closed its doors.
We made it to Bali.
And although it's been a year that's physically kept us from our friends and loved ones, it's been a year that has brought us together and made us stronger in many other ways. And now, as we start a new year, we slowly begin to open our doors once again to new people, new places, and to new adventures.
Writing name, institution, and the intended speaker. Okay, for the first time, I will invite Miss or Kun Marisa. Hello, Kun Marisa. Are you hear me? Hello, Kun Marisa.
Dr. Khalil, I'm here.
Okay, thank
A pleasure
you,
to see you. Yes.
Okay.
I'm.
Before starting your presentation, let me write your CV. Please show Mr. Master CV on screen. Okay. Formal education, Bachelor of Art in Arts History, Barnard College of Columbia University, New York City, and work experience, President of Thai Hotel Association, which has more than 1,000 members and 10 brand stores in Thailand. And Executive Vice President of Sukohol Hotel, has more than 20 years of hospitality experience and led the second generation of Sukohol hoteliering. An ambassador for various Thai and international social and healthcare cases, and former chairman of the Environmental Association, and person in charge of the family's hotel business and group marketing strategy.
Prof, mute, Prof.
Prof, you are unmute. You are mute now, Professor Khalil.
Okay, thank you. Please, Mr. Maestra, you have 10 minutes for presentation.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Khalil, and dear Dr. Haryadi Sukamdini, chairperson of the PHRI in Indonesia. Thank you so much for inviting me to join your webinar series today, and to all the esteemed leaders in hospitality and tourism, members of Asean and everyone. It's a pleasure and very privileged opportunity to join you today. You know, Thailand is in a very transitional, dynamic period at the moment. We are getting ourselves ready for the opening of our country to 46 national countries. You know, from 46 countries beginning November 1st. So I was just attending another meeting, just trying to understand all the systems and the processes involved. It's really the new normal. But let me give you some background information about you know, how we got to today through learning from the opening of the Phuket sandbox, as you well know, was mentioned earlier. Dr. Khalil already introduced our association. We have 1,000 members across the country and 10 chapters as well. Total room count for our members is around 160,000, which is about 1/6 of the room inventory in Thailand. Since we have our chapter in Phuket, our southern chapter, you know, the president there was very involved in the opening of Phuket, and me not so much, but I'll try my best to convey to you all that I know. I have sent slides this morning, and could the host kindly share my slides, please?
Please.
Yes. Okay, so in the first slide, let's talk about Phuket. Can you go to the next slide, please? So, you know, Thailand, since the beginning of COVID, which was April of last year, it had been a year, you know, before the vaccine started to roll out in Thailand, which was March of this year. And by that time, you know, so many, you know, tourism was really suffering, and Phuket sandbox grew because finally the population of Phuket, you know, not just hospitality, tourism businesses, but Phuket communities were ready to welcome back tourists because 90% of Phuket economy is based on tourism. So it was time, and Phuket sandbox began through, you know, the gentleman on the right-hand bottom of the slide. He is Kun Pumkit. He is the president of Phuket Tourist Association. Our president of THA Southern Chapter is the second from the left, up on top. So, you know, all the Phuket private sector got together and made a proposal to the government. So it's really a concerted joint effort between the local operators, the private sector, and the government sector. And we're very lucky to have a governor of Phuket, Kunarong, who is the top left person. He was very committed and dedicated. And when Phuket made the proposal, they had to have everything in place, even, you know, a risk management plan for what would happen if people came, tourists came, you know, and you know, how to control the spread and everything. So one of the biggest issues for getting Phuket opened was getting vaccines down to Phuket. And they were able to do that. And in the previous picture, you saw kind of a promotion, you know, trying to get Phuket locals to vaccinate. So that's just a kind of a friendly picture just to start off the session. Since Sandbox opened on July 1st, this is the figures as of 25th of October, there have been 56,482 travelers, which is about half the amount of travelers expected. But nevertheless, you know, it's something. And all of us tourism sector in Thailand, all of us thought at the time that if we have to get Phuket open, if Phuket does not open, then, you know, we will never get ourselves open. So it was really a concerted effort. So out of the 56,482, about, I can't see the slides clearly right now, but I think about 300 people were tested positive. So that's 0.3%. And that's because in receiving tourists had to have had 2 doses of the vaccine. You know, they had to have a vaccine certificate. They had to have the insurance and hotels pre-booked before entering. So and Phuket had to have beds ready for if anyone who tested positive would have to go and quarantine themselves in hospitals or hospitals, which are hotels turned into hospitals. So we're very happy to say that out of the 0.3% of people who tested, tourists or incoming international travelers who tested positive, there was no transmission at all from travelers to the local Thais. The transmissions were from actual Thais, you know, or cross-border crossings or things like that. So Phuket is successful due to the concerted effort, due to the vaccines primarily, and also due to the restrictions imposed on travelers. I know it's difficult in the beginning to attract so many, but at least it's something. So next slide, please. So in the next slide, you see that from the 1st of June until the 7th of September, nationalities that have traveled into Thailand, Phuket mostly, Americans, Germans, UAE, UK, Israelis, French, Swiss, and Sweden. So barely, like very few Asians at all, you know, and that's because of the occurring outbreaks in the Asian countries and the vaccination processes that are a bit slower than the Western Hemisphere. Okay, next slide, please. What has really worked for Phuket is the hotels. Like hotels played quite a big role, and the hotels have to be SHA certified. SHA is short for Thailand Safety and Health Administration, and which is endorsed by the World Tourism and Travel Council Safe Travels scheme. So if you're SHA Plus, that means 70% of your employees are fully vaccinated. So the hotels that were able to accommodate tourists in Phuket were SHA Plus hotels only. And we have to have a SHA Plus manager who keeps track of, you know, the movements of our guests, and the travelers have to have pre-booked hotel stays, and that was the only way really that Phuket can control the traveler movements. And the island approach is easier because there's only maybe 1 or 2 border crossings from Phuket to the mainland. But now Bangkok is opening up, so it was quite, you know, a courageous move from our Prime Minister, who on October 11th announced that you know, Thailand will welcome 10 nationals without quarantine, and now we have a list of 46 countries that can now travel into Thailand. Next slide, please. So, if next slide, please.
Next slide, please.
Okay, so I can't read this clearly, but basically this is the approach now for Thailand in welcoming travelers. So now we have a list of 46 countries in which can travel to Thailand without quarantine, meaning that they have to stay in a hotel one night just to wait for their RT-PCR results before traveling anywhere at all in the country. So that's number one. The first way is exemption from quarantine. The Tourism Authority of Thailand calls it the test and go. So once you are tested negative, you can travel anywhere in the country. But before that, you have to have had 2 vaccinations, you know, a vaccine, a 70 RT-PCR test. You have to have insurance and a hotel pre-booked before arriving. In the second column is the sandbox scheme or program, which means that if you're not in the 46 countries listed, you have to come and stay in a sandbox, which means that you cannot exit the peripheries of the province, after 7 days. Okay. And then, before 7 days, you have to be there for 7 days. And then the last scheme is the quarantine scheme. So these are for travelers who are not vaccinated at all. They have to stay in an AQ, alternative quarantine hotel, for 10 days before exiting, before exiting the hotel, and have to have 2 RT-PCR tests before exiting the hotels. Okay, next slide, please. This is just to illustrate for you the processes, this is the most simple version that I can find. It's so things change every day. Policies are changing every day, and so even today at my meeting this morning, there was another slide, and so things are changing constantly, just to get ourselves ready. So before they arrive, as I said, they have to have all those, the vaccine certificates and everything. And then when they come in, they have to download, their information has to be downloaded into the cost application, which is managed by our health ministry. And then they have to go to the hotel. This is Phuket. In Phuket, they do the RT-PCR test in the airport, but in Bangkok, it's in the hotel. And then they have to, once the test is positive, then they have to load another application, a tracking app, in the hotel. And once if their test is negative, they get a green QR code, and then they can leave the hotel. So the green QR code signifies that they're clean and they can leave the hotel. So I come to my last slide, I believe, which is just to tell you all that Thailand is ready, and next year will be a big year for us. This year we have had, in the year before COVID, we had 40 million tourists. This last year we had 6.7. This year, at the moment, this right moment, we have about 80,000 only, and the government predicts to have through this new no quarantine program, that we will have 300,000 in November and December. And next year, our tourist numbers will be around 10 million, which is 1/4 the capacity of 2019. That's it for me at the moment. So any questions are welcome.
Okay, thank you, Kun Marisa. Very interesting presentation. Before I invite next speaker, let me ask you to elaborate more the differentiation between Phuket and Thailand, generally in terms of tourism, please.
Okay, well, Phuket is an island and it's world famous, and while Thailand overall had 40 million tourists in 2019, Phuket had 10 million. And because it's an island and with easy access, there are many direct flights. And due to the success of the Phuket sandbox, a lot of attention is being brought to Phuket. And I see that in the future there'll be a lot, further development for Phuket. And part of that is because of the very unified tourism sector and other sectors working together in Phuket. Thailand is, we are waiting. We are not as fortunate yet as Phuket, but come November 1st, we can expect, there will not be many, tourists in the beginning for sure. It will be a slow climb back to normalcy. And we think that, it will take 2 years at least before things come back to pre-COVID levels. So, the sandbox locations, which consist of the main tourist provinces, are getting themselves ready as well. And most of these provinces, in them, 70% of the population has had a second dose of vaccine. So we are getting ready, and one of the reasons that it will take a while is because of the quarantine policies in the source countries, right? Like, for example, if Indonesian national travels to Thailand and goes back, he or she has to quarantine for 7 days, if I remember correctly, or if you're Chinese, you have to quarantine 21 days. So that might be a hindrance. So what Thailand needs to do right now is start travel bubble discussions with our key source markets.
Okay, thank you, Kun Marisa. Please stay on this Zoom meeting. And the next interesting topic is strategy to reconnect Asian countries from hotelier perspective. That will be delivered by Mr. Sam Cheh, immediate past president of Malaysian Association of Hotel. Mr. Sam Cheh, are you ready? Hello, Mr. Sam Cheh. Are you hear me? Mr. Sam Cheh? Oh, not ready. Once again, Mr. Sam Cheh, are you hear me? Oh, Mr. Sam Cheh, you still mute.
Okay, now I can unmute. Thank you very much, Dr.
Okay,
Professor.
thank you, Mr. Sam Cheh.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I managed to
before you
unmute.
starting your presentation, let me read your CV, please. So,
Thank you, thank
take
you.
off Mr. Thompson on screen. Okay, Mr. Samjay, work experience, Kuala Lumpur International Hotel Group General Manager, a speaker or moderator in many local and international conference, an experienced hotelier with a certificate hotel administrator degree accredited by the Educational Institute, American Hotel and Lodging Association, Malaysian Association Hotel Honorary Secretary General for 6 term, active in the organization in culinary Malaysian from 2001 until 2013, organization chair and deputy chair security task force for the 7th World China Entrepreneur Convention in 2003. Please, Mr. Che, you have 10 minutes for presentation.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Khalil. Thank you for the kind introduction. I'm going also a very good afternoon to Pak Haryadi, the President of PHRI, Pak Edi, President of Asean, Kun Marisa, President of PHA, Mr. Oreo Montal, General Manager of the Bali Properties Marriott International. Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My presentation is going to be very simple. Can I have my first slide on, please? Thank you. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the hotel sector is an integral component of the tourism industry, as we all know. And I'm very sure all of us were caught off guard by the COVID-19 pandemic for almost 2 years now, to be very exact, about 18 months to 19 months in Malaysia. No one can actually really anticipate the damage it created and how long it's going to be. And that is why we're all in the dark still. And just to share with you, according to UNWTO studies, the tourism industry has suffered about 1 billion fewer international arrivals worldwide during the period of January to 2021 to May 2020, January 2020 to May 2021, year on year. And with the ASEAN borders, as we have heard from the earlier speakers, Pak Edi, the Minister of Tourism of Indonesia, and Kun Marisa on the Phuket sandbox, we should prepare ourselves to get our lifeline back for the hotel industry. Today, I'm just going to share with you, all the beautiful audience here today, on just 2 simple topics. Nothing much to talk about in 10 minutes. And I believe most of you would have already known what I'm going to say. Can I have the second slide, please? Thank you. Today, I'm going to talk about the challenges and also the way forward for the hotel industry, the way I see it, being the past president of ARA and past president of Asean, I've been very keen and in the development of the industry. So slide number 3, let's work on the challenges. As you can see down there, I only have 5 points that I'm going to talk about. The lockdowns and movement control the last 18 months has in fact halted the economy of our countries. More so, drastic measures were also taken by most of us, the hoteliers, as there were almost no market demand. Occupancy had dipped down to single digit, and we were all in a panic scenario because we don't know when it's going to end. And at the same time, we were straddled with deficit cash flow that has forced the laying off of our human capital and other measures to reduce fixed costs. I do believe that many operations are facing difficulty in serving bank loans and had also adopted short-term business model like staycation, work from hotel, and turning into quarantine hotel, and also on the F&B outlet, food delivery and takeaway due to the SOPs and protocols during the period of lockdown and movement control. This little initiative taken by us will only help to plow back some cash flow that can hardly maintain the minimum staff force and the maintenance of the property. That's why I like what Pak Aryadi mentioned earlier. Hotel industry is looking forward to the support of the government to provide grant and assistance to rescue them from going bankrupt. There's a perfect line that was mentioned by our president of PHRI. That being said, some hoteliers are worried about the perception of future customers on the safety and hygiene of the property if they were to operate as a quarantine hotel during the pandemic. As I mentioned just now, some have even converted their hotel into quarantine hotel. And if you have done that, they're in a panicky stage. But anyway, in Malaysia, MAH, Malaysia Association of Hotel, works with Bureau Veritas for audit and certification on the safety and hygiene of our members. MAH has about 1,100 plus members at the moment in 13 states, and it contributes 173,000 keys in Malaysia, which is about 70 plus 80% of the total keys that is available in Malaysia. So with that being said, we actually work with the Malaysia Association of Travel and Tour Agents, the Malaysia Association of Convention and Exhibition Organizers and Suppliers, and also the Malaysian Aviation Group to launch and endorse the Travel Safe Alliance Malaysia to give the confidence and trust to the tourists that is going to choose Malaysia as a destination. Well, next comes the uncertainty of opening the market to the mass leisure market. Like what Kun Marisa mentioned, 90% of Phuket market is leisure market. And now you see that the numbers have dipped down so low that it is hardly able to survive with the operating costs. It is a blessing that the vaccination rate that was like mentioned by His Excellency, the Minister of Tourism, has been commendable in our region. But unfortunately, then came the Delta variant that knocked out the infection rate again. Now that the borders are slowly opening, it is time to focus on your business strategy. I like to put this forward basically for the hoteliers, how we are going to help reconnect ASEAN to the world again. So moving forward, can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. Now, moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, as you already know, to regularize the market to post-COVID-19 pandemic will take time. In fact, last year, I did even mention in a webinar that probably you'll only start to see real movement by 2023. Real movement as we open up our border in stages. As the borders open up, there are still challenges on the cross-border health entry protocols. This will deter comeback of leisure tourism anytime soon, although some has started to open up as elaborated by Pak Eddie just now. White sandboxes and travel bubble, but the tourists will take time to understand the process of the strict requirement. Even though now, like Thailand, Phuket Sandbox, you only need to stay one night in the hotel without quarantine to get your PCR or RTK test on a green light. So as ASEAN is promoted as a single destination all this time, it is important to adopt a common standard ASEAN arrival SOP and protocol, which means that all ASEAN nations should come to agreement with one single standard arrival SOP and protocol. It would be good to see the ASEAN adopting a single visa too for the 10 nations. A good example is the bilateral arrangement between Thailand and Cambodia, where Cambodia allowed quarantine-free entry for travelers from Thailand by air. So this is a good start. This is a good start. So ladies and gentlemen, after this, we will be seeing that travelers' behavior will change, whether we like it or not. From what you and I know post-COVID-19, even though I've been 40 over years in the hotel industry, I will still need to look at the new behavior of the travelers post-COVID. Everyone is talking about new norm, big great reset. What is the new norm? Based on the study by OECD, the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, travelers' behavior will be influenced by the evolution of the crisis, as well as longer-term consumer trend, which is going to change too, that are reshaping the way people travel. This includes the emergence of new niche and market segment. So be prepared for it, fellow hoteliers. Guests will focus on safety protocols, reduce contact or contactless tourism experience. With that said, our past guest historical data that we have been compiling, collecting, and market segment will no longer be relevant, as you can see it. Because who you have been serving before may change because of the new protocols. And it is time for us to move towards using data science. As was mentioned by His Excellency Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy earlier, Indonesia is working on big data. This is data science. To really see the trends and the kind of traveler that is traveling to ASEAN. And also don't forget, it is also important to do digitalization to obtain real-time data on consumer preference for your market segment and also the business strategies that you are going to develop. We had always emphasized on personalized service all these years being in the industry. Next, I can share with you in the coming months or years, it will be hyper-personalized service. We are talking about being connected with your client before arrival, during arrival, and after arrival. You have to move on. So there are ways of doing it. And also, the next thing that we have to do is to ensure the chain of safety and hygiene protocol must be carried out by every one of the value chain, our supply chain in tourism. Safety and hygiene will become the key factors to select destination and also tourism activities. So be serious about safety and hygiene SOPs and protocols of your fellow employee and guests, because I believe you wouldn't want to be shut down due to a cluster that's going to happen in your property. So we got to be very, very serious about passing on and carrying out the safety and hygiene SOP and protocols from the whole throughout the whole value chain in the tourism, from arrival to the hotel, to places of interest, to restaurants, everything. So it is also projected that post-COVID, a price war may erupt. I'm sure you have been keeping this in mind too. How am I, like what the minister had mentioned just now, that why we are having a price war, right? Because this is also due to the reduced market demand. Interacting with hoteliers, my interaction with hoteliers, I can understand their predicament pertaining to occupancy, cash flow, and fixed cost. But that shouldn't be the way. That shouldn't be the way. Therefore, it's very important for us to understand the cost factor in running our business. It is utmost important. What is the point of selling your rooms at a loss? When you have your occupancy 100%, you fill it up, but you're still having a cash flow deficit. You're still losing money. What is the point? So it is very, very important to get your market data right. That's where we go to data science again. We talk about big data again. Convert. The other thing is to convert. Try to convert your fixed cost to variable cost wherever possible. Outsourcing is one of the way of doing it. The use of IoT, Internet of Things, is another way of it. Contactless payment, virtual experience for marketing. These are some of the things that you can do. And as a hotelier, I'm always against price war in the market. The market must be healthy and competitive. But the question here is how to reach your customers without going into a price war. There are ways. This is where you need to spend your marketing dollar well. Don't just spend it well. Make sure that it's a value. And you have to work, continue to work with OTA. Doesn't mean that you write off the OTAs. You write off the conventional travel agent, no. We were talking about private and public sector need to work together. B2B, private and private sector too need to work together, right? And also you need to work with some influencer to create marketing awareness. And at the same time, you need to work with a digitalization technology partner. Yeah. If you are not working with any or having a digital distribution network, for example, even pre-COVID or now, get one now. I believe that is important because you need to let the world know whether you actually have the inventory to be released on real time.
Sorry, Mr. Sir, can you speed up your presentation?
Sure, I will. Thank you very much, Professor. So you should be working on your market segment today for tomorrow. Okay, last but not least, since time is quite limited, be proactive and practice sustainable tourism before it's too late. Besides whatever that we are doing in terms of health protocols, arrival protocol, sustainable tourism is important. So this one slide I like to share with you. If you're not going to get your business, you lose out in the business. Remember what Dr. Spencer Johnson wrote, "Who moved my cheese? Only you. Only you know." So stop fearing what lies ahead. Instead, thrive in an environment of change and uncertainty. And I'd like to also share with you that it's very important to support your national and local trade association with proactive role and feedback and giving proposal in order to garner support from the lawmakers, the government, public sector. Don't take a back seat and pass comment about what the association can do for you. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody for your time. Thank you, Professor. I'd like to end my session here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very perfect presentation. Please stay on this your meeting.
Yeah.
The last topic is how international hotel chain prepare the business to enter endemic place, which will be delivered by Mr. Oriol Montal, Multi-Property Vice President, Bali Properties Marriott International. Before starting your presentation, let me read your CV, please. So his CV on screen. Okay. Formal education, graduate from École Hôtelière de Lausanne, Switzerland. Work experience, general manager for Jim Marriott, Phuket Resort and SPA. General manager of the Ritz-Carlton Osaka in Japan, 2011. General manager of leading golf and spa resorts with the Ritz-Carlton brand in the exotic destination of Sintra, Portugal and Tenerife, Spain. Hotel manager for the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Arts, Barcelona, Spain, 2003. Executive assistant manager room division, the Ritz-Carlton Dubai. Assistant food beverage manager with Hotel Barcelona, Spain, 1994. Please, Mr. Oriol, you have 10 minutes for presentation.
Excellent. Selamat sore. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you, Dr. Haryadi, for the invitation of being here today with PHRI. Truly appreciated the invitation. As well, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Khalil, for the introduction. And so thank you for giving me 10 minutes to represent the hospitality industry. So if we could put the slides. First of all, while we are waiting for the slides to be introduced, so I would like to give a very quick introduction about Marriott International. So as we probably know, Marriott International is the largest hospitality company. If we can go 2 more slides ahead, please. So we roughly have 7,800 properties and an inventory globally above 1.4 million rooms. We are present in 138 countries and territories. As well, Marriott International also offers the largest travel loyalty platform called Marriott Bonvoy, with more than 150 million members globally. If we can go, sorry, 1 slide behind. So Marriott, as you will see, one more behind, sorry. Here. So Marriott having 7,800 rooms, we have an amazing portfolio for our Marriott Bonvoy members, where they can really have a different type of hotel based on the what they are looking forward. So we have 3 umbrellas of hotels. We have what we call the umbrella of luxury. This would be for guests that they are looking for the finest amenities and service. The brands covered in the luxury segment would be Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, Bulgari, W hotels, to name a few. Then we would have the premium hotels. that those would be for sophisticated travelers, providing thoughtful amenities and services, covering brands such as Marriott, Sheraton, Le Méridien, and Westin, other brands that you can see in the middle of this slide. And then we would have the select service hotels, that this would cater the no fuss, no frills and small travelers that, and we are offering uncomplicated amenities and services. Brands such as Courtyard, Moxie, Aloft, or 4 Points by Sheraton, without having to name them all the different brands. So if we can go to the next slide, going closer to our home, this is what it would be our portfolio in Indonesia. So we have a large pipeline of hotels, and this is a testament of our long-term growth prospect in Indonesia as well as Asia Pacific. So with a total of more than 19 brands and 58 properties in Indonesia, Marriott International has a significant distribution of hotels across some of the country's more renowned destinations, such as Bali, Belitung, Surabaya, Yogyakarta, to name a few. So if we can go to the next slide, I'm covering a little bit more on detail the topic that we are discussing today. This is the Global Recovery Index map that Marriott International use every month in our region, APEC region without China, to understand the progress of the different hotels where we are present. So here on the list, you will be able to see all the countries in APEC region that we are present, and you will be able to see that what it is the Global Recovery Index by country. Very positive news is that over the past 45 to 60 days, every single country in our region had either it was stabilized, so there was not a deterioration of the condition, and a big part of the countries had an improvement. So that I think that it is a very, very good news, and is aligned of what the other speakers has been talking about. One other thing that, and is aligned with what our other speakers were sharing, is interesting to see that the Global Recovery Index by country, it is very different country by country. And this would be based on the restrictions of mobility in every single of those countries, but as well would be related on in which stage of the COVID pandemic they are. If we can go to the next slide, please. There has been a lot of talks about recoveries, and I think that a lot of the people attending this call, they wanted to know the magic number when the recovery, or when we will be back to pre-COVID numbers. And that is another image that monthly we are reviewing. And what we can say as per align with what the other speakers they have been sharing, we are foreseeing large recovery in 2022, 2023. In a positive, and that would be on a positive note, that growth over the next 2 years. As well, there is different scenarios. We have some projections that they are more positive, thinking that this acceleration of vaccination will continue. There are some other projections that they are slightly less positive, thinking that there will be maybe another wave in some countries on COVID-19. One thing that we take in common with all the projections, and Marisa mentioned that is that unfortunately we don't see the recovery by end of 2023. As per this chart, we think that recovery will be either 2024 or even 2025. So if we can go to the next slide, please. In line with what has been mentioned by every single of the speakers today. Marriott International believe that a big part of the recovery will be vaccination. And we are very proud to say that in Marriott Indonesia, 94% of our associates are vaccinated. And I would have to say that I have been totally impressed with the way that the government of Indonesia has rolled out vaccination. And I have to say that a big thank you on the name of all the hotels for all the support that we have received. I mean, I would presume that we are one of the world where we have the highest level of vaccination in the hospitality market. And as you can see in this chart, is not covering only one region of Indonesia. As you can see, we have, other than Medan, that very soon will be above 90%. Every single region, our hotels are well above 90%. And that is aligned with the direction of Marriott International. Marriott International supports global vaccination efforts to help bring the devastating COVID-19 pandemic under control. The company is confident that vaccination is a key measure, along with testing, mask wearing, social distancing, and step-up cleanliness protocols and hygiene practices in minimizing the spread of COVID-19. We believe vaccines increasingly plays an important role in the layered approach to health and safety. If we go to the next slide, that was mentioned as well in from a lot of our other members that they were speaking today. A commitment to clean is here to stay. And as a company, we were, if not the number one, we were one of the first rolling out a very, very detailed plan of commitment to clean. And this was not done only by us as hoteliers. We involved a large number of very professional people on diverse fields, such as health, such as many other fields. And we believe that, again, even when the pandemic will end, a lot of those protocols will be here to stay. And with all our hotels, our highest mission will be to ensure that our customers choosing Marriott, that they feel comfortable. So I would like to share with you a video directly from our chairman, Mr. Marriott, talking a little bit about those protocols. Thank you. In the meantime, I believe that we are a little bit tight with time, so I will continue. And if it's not possible to show the video, don't mind. So the steps we are taking on cleanliness and new hospitality norms are as much as about the health and safety of associates as they are about our guests. If there is something that we have learned during this pandemic, is that we are all in this together. And again, it's something that has been repeated this afternoon. By taking care of our associates and following these new protocols, we will be collectively taking care of our guests and the global community. So again, I would like to stress about this work of collectively, that I believe that it will be not only hoteliers, it will be about being hand-to-hand with the tour operators, with the travel agents, with the government, etc., etc. We can go to the next slide, please. Talking a little bit more on detail on MICE. And this will be probably one of the industries that it will be more challenging. And I believe that it is a key part of our industry. Indonesia, as an example, has been already for many, many years one of the leaders organizing international events. So we, as a company, we are working extremely close with the Indonesian government to assure that we are adhering all the protocols in the country. But we are as well deploying scientifically supported practices and innovations to ensure that the meetings and events are conducted safely for the peace of mind of the attendees. So we are seeing the MICE in the 3 different phases. The first phase would be before the customer arrives. And this time, a lot of the times brings even more challenges because all those satisfactions are not happening in the country. It needs to be the way that we are doing today this conference. So the first thing that we are ensuring is that we are adhere to the country regulations. And this is very volatile. And we need to ensure that we are totally informed on those. And to ensure that in the near future, all those the people organizing the events internationally, they understand what they will need to follow when they will come to the country. We need to ensure as well that we work with those team planners to understand their needs, but as well at the same time to explain our protocols so that they feel comfortable. If we go to the next slide, and I will cover here only a few topics because I believe that we are very short on time. But, one thing that already has been mentioned that for Marriott, we are, I believe, taking the lead in the industry is moving from high touch to touchless. This is a priority nowadays for all the customers, but this is something that again will be here to stay. As well, we are working on a space design, meeting setup, and catering. For example, one of the challenges that we are seeing is the reduced seating capacity by at least 50%. Consulting with each meeting planner to review and align what it is expected. Social distancing practices. Equipping associates with required personal protective equipment, including masks, for all guest-facing associates, to name a few. And definitely, one thing that will be here to stay is to keep introducing deeper and more frequent cleaning with extra attention given to high traffic areas. So to end the presentation.
Sorry, Mr. Ariel, 1 minute more.
Yeah, we are done. We are just concluding. So we don't know when this COVID-19 pandemic will be over or when our lives will return to some sort of normalcy. But we want our guests and our associates as well to know that when the time comes, we will be ready to welcome everyone back to a safe and clean hotel environment. And that's what I have for today. Thank you very much. And I will take any questions later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ariel. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 interesting topics have been presented. We will open a discussion session. Please, the team to select a question and show in the chat room. Okay, the first question to Kun Marisa Sukohol from Yasir, postgraduate of School Medan. The question is, how does Thailand provide socialization to the international market regarding the opening of Phuket in July or the plan to open Thailand widely on November 1st? Please.
I'm not quite sure what the Kun Yasser means by socialization.
Mm.
How does Thailand provide socialization to the international market?
Mm.
Do you mean like communication, like communicating? I'm not quite sure. I don't quite understand the question.
Socialization mean education, educating for the people maybe.
What he means might be communication is that it's very important for each hotel does their own marketing, so it's very important. And 60 to 70% of travelers coming to Thailand are repeat. So a lot of hotels have loyal, repeat, friends. Friends who are customers and who love Thailand. So a lot of them are communicated through the hotels. It's also very important that discussions are made B2B, business to business. So not just OTAs, but travel agencies. Travel agencies are very important in marketing our country. So it's very important that B2B discussions are made. And also during COVID, a very important role, a new role to bring in travelers is the foreign ministry through our embassies. So our embassies, have to approve the certificate of entry, do the final approval. So, and that's kind of the first place where travelers go to get information. So information through the embassies, through the Tourism Authority of Thailand's websites, and through hotels, B2C and B2B. That would be my question, my answer, sorry.
Okay, perfect
Thank
answer, I
you.
think, Kun Risa. Thank you. And the next question, please. Please show the next question on screen. Okay. Provide the next question, please. So on screen. Okay. The second question to Samceh from Irma Mukhayani, Dinas Pariwisata. The question is how to reconnecting and rescuing the hotel after pandemic so the tourists so easy to come. Strategy is used so tourism will be right. Move for the screen. Can you show again? I will repeat the question. The question move from the screen. Okay. Okay. Please show again. Okay. The question from Irma Mokhyani, Dinas Pariwisata to Samceh. The question is how to connecting and rescuing the hotel after pandemic so the tourists so easy to come. Strategy is used so the tourists will be right. Any requirement for the tourists so they feel safety? Please, Mr. Samceh, to answer. Are you still on the Zoom meeting, Mr. Samceh? Hello, Mr. Samceh. Are you still in Zoom meeting? Mr. Samceh? Are you hearing me? Okay, we move to third question maybe. Please.
Okay, I got it now.
Oh, sorry.
I'm able to unmute. Thank you very
Okay,
much because it's controlled by the host. All
Please.
right. I believe what happened here is very important. Is how to create confidence and trust. So when you talk about creating confidence and trust, you must be able to reach out to the market, especially your targeted segment, to give them more content about what you do, just like what Oreo was mentioning about Marriott doing what they call their clean program. You got to reach out. Secondly, I did mention in my paper just now is that probably like Malaysia, we work with Bureau Veritas. This is an independent company that do the audit of the individual hotel and certify them clean. And that's why, like in Malaysia, we set up the what they call alliance with the MICE, that's Masio, and the travel agent, and also the airlines. So as I mentioned just now, it's very important the value chain that give you the chain of confidence that when a tourist arrive. But talking about how you want to stay in the business, as I mentioned, you need to digitalize. You need to digitalize. You need to have real-time information, real-time data, so that you can work your strategy real-time. You cannot wait because the market is very limited. Whoever can see the trend move will be the people who is going to grab it. So I believe that is the only way that you can stay ahead and keep your operations going until things are really back to normal. Even though it's back to normal, there are many protocols that is going to be to stay. You cannot change it. You cannot change it, right? So I hope I answer your question.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Chai. And any question more, please? So at the screen, on screen. Okay, the question to Aurel Montal from Kania, Jakarta. The question is, as an international hotel chain, what is the role of Marriott in the reactivating the opening of each country where Marriott operate? Is there some kind of special program? Please, Mr. Aurel.
Thank you very much, Professor. I think that is a great question. And the first point that I would like to cover on that with that question is, as we have discussed before, Marriott needs to collaborate. And Marriott needs to ensure that is the first one collaborating with the travel agencies, that is the first one that is collaborating with the government. Because if we are going everyone in a different direction, we will make things even more complicated. So it is about, I believe that each part of the, each part will have their way of expertise, and to ensure that we are ready, open to hear from the government their expertise on reopening the country, work together with the agents with their expertise on again reopening the country, and on what it would be our part as hoteliers, that would be more operational protocols, ensure that then we are providing all that feedback. As well, I think that it is extremely important as a company to support, as I mentioned before, the vaccination. So to be the first ones that we are being the role model, not only communicating that to our employees or associates, but as well to their families. And to ensure as well that we are supporting government on all those. Every country has a different certification. So to ensure that we are supporting with that certification. Because if we are doing that from outside of the country, they will feel comfortable that all our hotels, they are certified and they are ready to welcome. Another thing that we have been working very close in that case in Indonesia is with the Ministry of Tourism, ensuring that we are aligning all our promotions with them so that we have the same type of communication. Regarding packages, special packages, I believe that it was mentioning before, and I totally agree. we don't believe that part of the recuperation is doing very affordable packages, because we think that we need to ensure that as soon as possible we make our hotels profitable, so that we can support all our owners around the country, that we can support as well the agents, because at the end of the day, they will make their money with most probably commissions. So definitely we are working into packages to reopen the country, but that doesn't mean that we need to be too affordable, because it will not be good for anyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ariel. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the limited time, I have very inspector, just only one question. And we will close our interesting discussion soon. Based on the exposure of experts and our discussion showed that cooperation and safety of tourists are the key success factor for rescuing and reconnecting tourism sector in Asian member country. Therefore, pentaholic collaboration and partnership between government as a policymaker, business actors, community, media, social media, and academic is very important thing to recover tourism sector in the new normal era. Thank you very much to all invited speakers for sharing a very valuable experience in this session, and also to all participants for your attention. Let we give applause to all invited speakers. See you in the next time. I think it's all of me, and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Time return to MC Bunga. Please, Bunga. Please, Bunga, time return to you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Thank you very much for all speakers for their really interesting talk. And we will invite Mrs. Marisa Sukosolman Bakti from President Thai Hotel Association and Rector of Sahid University, Mr. Professor Dr. Insinyur Khalil MCom IPU, can deliver certificate to invite speakers. Your Excellency, please.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Okay, next we will invite Mr. Subchair from immediate Vice President of Malaysia Association of Hotels and Rector of Sahid University, Mr. Professor Dr. Insinyur Khalil MCom IPU, can deliver certificate to invite speaker. Your Excellency, please.
Thank you, Bunga. On behalf of Sahid University and Perhimpunan Hotel Indonesia, we very appreciate and grateful to Mr. Samseh. Please accept the certificate.
Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you very much, PHRI, ARA, and Asean for having me here with you all today, and really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Next, we will invite Mr. Oriol Montal from General Manager Multi Property Vice President, Bali Properties Marriott International, and Rector of Sahid University, Mr. Professor Dr. Insinyur Khalil MCom IPU, can deliver certificate to invite speaker. Your Excellency, please.
Thank you, Bunga. Please, Mr. Ariel, accept this certificate. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih, Professor. And as mentioned at the beginning, it's an honor to be here. So thank you very much for the invitation. And hope to see you very soon. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Okay. Well, we would like to announce the prize winner will get hotel voucher. And the winner is okay. Now before leaving, we are going to take pictures, and we would like to all speakers, moderators, and all participants to stay on camera. Wait, we will be waiting for the winner. Now we got to take a picture. So please, to all participants on camera. Okay, next slide. Okay, next slide. Slide 2 and slide 3.
Slide 3. Slide 4.
Okay. Well done. Okay. So, oh wait. Wait a minute, guys. Stay on your post, guys. Wait a minute. Stay smile. And okay.
Ini bagus deh ya.
Okay, we'll take a picture. So, okay, and now we would like to announce that the prize winner will get hotel voucher, and the winner is on the street. Yay! Congratulations for Paul Edmander Salo from Bali, Yasser Postgraduate School from Medan, Muhammad for PHRI Jogja, Irma Mufiani for Dinas Pariwisata, and congratulations for Ismayanti from Jakarta. Okay, for the contact person, Mrs. Santi, and this number on screen. So, ladies and gentlemen, finally, we come the end of the webinar on rescuing and reconnecting Asian tourism. We would like to say thank you again for all speakers and moderators for their interesting discussion, and to audience for your active participation. Thank you for your attention. Good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Audio Jungle.
Indonesia. There are certain things that words cannot describe. In this place, life is an adventure. I never imagined I'd be here. A land full of wonders, colors, and cultures. Where beauty lies in every corner. And nature showing its best side. From the oceans to the mountains. waiting for you to explore, to make stories. The sea rises to the shore. Of what people call the land of the gods. What would it be like to explore this place? To experience these shores? To witness the wonders of this land every day. With love from Indonesia.
We know you have been longing for a good holiday in Bali. Indonesia cares, so it's been preparing for your safe return. Ngurah Rai International Airport has been awarded the Safe Travel Stamp by the World Travel and Tourism Council for its commitment to implement the COVID-19 health